Hello Sag, welcome to your monthly chakra healing video. This is going to be for the month of May. Let's get right into it. It was funny because I actually did your reading a while, like it was already laid out, but like I didn't get to film it, so it's just been sitting on my desk for a minute. So I apologize that yours is a little bit late, but we're gonna go over it. So we're gonna move the oracle cards. Your bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Okay, Sag, so what is happening with y'all's? So for your root chakra, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Sacral chakra, you have the Seven of Wands. Your solar plexus, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Heart chakra, the Fool. Third chakra, the Lovers, which is really good, and we're gonna talk about it. Third eye is the Two of Pentacles. Then we have the crown chakra being the Ace of Swords and Judgment. So for this specific month for you guys, I feel like overall you guys are okay. However, there are some things that don't feel okay, and that is totally understandable, and we're gonna talk about it. So root chakra, you have the Queen of Pentacles. You guys are pretty much fine. You're as grounded as you can be within the circumstances. I say that because it's kind of hard for you guys to enjoy being indoors as much as you are forced to be, even though things are starting, quote unquote, to reopen, which people will feel the karmic repercussions of that soon, because it's definitely too soon to be doing that. But hey, you know, people don't listen, so there's that. So there's definitely this kind of building towards this shift that is occurring, and you guys are trying to deal with what you can right now, and because you know you're being forced to stay at home, you're kind of doing what you can. You're making it work. Okay, that's what I'm seeing for your root chakra. You're not fighting against it too much. You're not like struggling or anything like that, but you're definitely making it work, and it doesn't necessarily make you feel the best or to any capacity. You're just not necessarily like, oh yeah, this is fun. You guys are like, okay, well, I've made my peace with it. I'm still working through it. You guys have been like that consistently for the past couple of weeks, so I'm not really surprised that you're embodying this Queen of Pentacles energy. And your root chakra is not necessarily a blockage, even though I would still recommend taking in the Queen of Pentacles energy, especially for you guys. I took a hike about a week ago, because I needed to be connected to the earth a little bit more, because I just, it's different because I'm an essential worker, and not everybody is an essential worker. Some people are home, so I am working, even though most people aren't. But I still needed to be connected to the earth because I haven't been able to pause and breathe for a second. The only time I get to pause and breathe is when I can kind of grab, 30 minutes to just, play Skyrim for a minute. It's like, just like my moment of trying to connect with nature on a digital level. But I really needed to go outside and just breathe. So I went on a hike, and it was amazing. And I recommend that you guys, more than any other sign, do this, because I feel like you guys are the travelers. You guys are the ones that itch to go anywhere or down for whatever like you guys in Gemini. Oh my God. Where Pisces can stay at home all day, every day, to an extent. But for the most part, you guys are like, no. At home, a home order is like a death sentence for Gemini and Sagittarius. Just straight up a death sentence. It doesn't feel good. It's not fun to any capacity. Like Virgos can stay home. They're very homebody. But you guys, Virgo and Geminis, you guys need to breathe. Gemini needs the fresh air, and you guys need to walk the earth, like, period. So I recommend you guys go on a hike. Just kind of take in this energy a little bit more. Go on a hike, go on a walk, around trees, around water, around somewhere. I don't know, maybe if you're I don't know, something is, if you have like a national park around you, go on a long hike, camp out, do something different, go like on a wild mushroom hike, try to find some really cool things in nature that you want to identify. There's a couple of apps that you can actually scan different plants and like outside and see what they are, and it tells you more information. Are they poisonous? Are they edible? All these kind of cool things. Go out, see what you can do. Try to meditate in nature. Try to connect in nature. Like ground yourself back in nature, because it's like a lot of it's kind of, everything is all over the place right now. So more than ever, we need to come back to nature. And I say this so like there's something that I said today on my Twitter, which was that I personally feel like we're always coming back to nature. We're always reaching for and seeking nature. As we grow up, we will live our lives searching for nature, whether it's like you smoking weed, that's still part of nature, or you buying yourself flowers, or you like traveling and wanting to see different parts of the world, different climates, different temperatures, different views, different mountains, different hills, different forests, different jungles. Like there's so many different ways that we are always trying to come back to nature, where you're at home and you're trying to green up your house by having some plants, by buying yourself flowers. We're always trying to connect ourselves back to nature. There's something very grounding about that, and I feel like you guys need more of that for this specific month. So definitely do what you can with that. Now, for your sacral chakra, y'all have the 7 of Wands. Now, I feel like, honestly, I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing, even though it can be a blockage depending on how you're using it. This is mainly about survival and how you are coping with all of the issues that are coming around you. This has to do with like money opportunities, with it basically, because of there's kind of a lock in opportunities that people can have, and goodness knows that is the luckiest sign in the zodiac, so you guys have the easiest time with any type of manifestation work, because there isn't a lot of opportunities right now. Things kind of look like this within your sacral space, so that you could be creating traumas with what's happening within the physical realm for you. So it's like finances or bills. I can definitely see this being bills at just coming out at you, like, oh, you gotta pay the light bill, oh, you gotta pay this, oh, you gotta pay that, oh, you gotta pay like all, even though you made peace with it in the physical realm, and you do have like some money that you have on deck that you are still, is on reserve for being used, there's still this level of, but what are you spending it on? Are you going to pay those bills? Are they going to have to just deal with that? You have to prioritize in different ways. It's almost like your luck is on, not hold, but like, how do I explain it? It's almost like you can't call in the same way that you used to. You have to do things a little bit different. And because of that, it can seem like a very frustrating experience when you're trying to not have things being all over the place, and not have different people or companies, different bills coming at you, like, oh, hey, you need to pay us by this day, you need to do this by this day, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like you're like, hey, you know what? We're in a pandemic. I'm not at work. I can't pay you right now, period. And then move on to the next thing. So there is this kind of like almost trauma that can be built out of the circumstances. So just be mindful of that, so you don't fall into the kind of the trap of making the worst out of things instead of like it just being a good thing. Especially because being at home is a good thing, especially for those who are being creative right now. This is actually a really good time for them. So I know that the situation can be a little bit frustrating, because it can seem very overwhelming. And that's the problem with this. You can get overwhelmed at everything that's happening. So try to minimize what it is that you have going on in regards to bills, or in regards to like what it is that you have to like address or deal with, because it can seem very overwhelming. I also see that in your bottom of the deck. It's just kind of like, oh, but in a month, or like you're thinking about in the future, like, oh, in a couple of weeks I might not be able to XYZ, whatever. Try to address that in a different way. If anything, like I've been telling some of the other signs, there's a lot of essential workers and opportunities within essential work that you can do. So just get a side job for now, and just, you know, do what you can with it, so that way you at least have some income flowing in, which would not be hard for you to get at all. Now with your solar plexus, you have the 9 of Pentacles. There's a lot of earthiness to you guys this month. I feel like you guys are definitely very much connected to it, and I honestly feel like this is why you have these cards: a balanced career and home life, and Florida for prosperity. And you also have home and dry desert. So there is kind of like this, okay, you've been at home for a minute, but now you have to make sure you're balancing your career, you're having all your ducks in a row, and dealing with these kind of bill situations that are arising within your circumstance right now. So just make sure you're mindful of that. I feel like you guys ultimately will come out of it, but you do have to make that into a focus. As far as manifestation wise, you guys do need to come up from the situation, and your luck can still be tapped into. Like you're like a well of good luck, so you can still tap into that. This is why it's like you got the expect a miracle card. Especially if you're trying to work your magic, your prayers are being heard. Like you are definitely not, you know, being left out by any means of the imagination. You see that in the crown chakra with the way the ancestors are working for you guys. No, you guys are definitely will come out of this, but at the same time, you need to prioritize and try not to get overwhelmed. Yes, you have bills. Yes, there's things that XYZ, whatever, but prioritize food, obviously, your mental health, your emotional health, and then go from there and see what it is that you need and how to address it. And at the end of the day, you know how to take care of yourself. You know what you need to feel like this. And this is why I feel like you guys need to spend some time in nature. It's like it's coming up in the cards for you guys. Just take a walk, be outside, look at the bounty, look at the abundance outside, because there's still a lot of things. Like nature's still doing its own thing. Even though climate change is doing its own thing too, but nature's still doing its own thing. So just be mindful of that. Now in your heart chakra, you have the Fool. I'm not really surprised about this because you guys are searching for something new. And I do feel like I see you guys getting a job during this time, but it's something new. It's something that maybe you haven't done before. And again, like right now, essential jobs are not necessarily all, you know, fancy and like $100,000, like a, you know, 6-figure salary and all of this stuff. It's just a side job for the most part, but you guys, it's enough to do what it is that you need to do. So it's totally fine. But you guys are searching for that freshness, that breath of fresh air, and seeing how you kind of navigate all of these things. But there is something really fresh and just bright and just, I kind of see that also in your throat chakra with the Lovers. There's something fresh about you guys. Like you guys are just like the equivalent of a forest this particular month. You guys are just like growing your leaves. It's springtime. It's just been raining a lot. You guys are getting your water. You guys are focusing on that, and you're trying to breathe a little bit more. The focus is really this month is to really, it's about really balancing your home and career, because I feel like again you guys have been handling the home part perfectly fine, but it's mainly the fact that like, okay, you can handle the home life, but there's certain things that are getting lost in translation. So it's about, again, manifesting for those opportunities to come in, and then being very clear about what it is that you want. You guys are going to be verbally manifesting very easily this month. I feel like you guys are speaking very clear. This, you guys got the Gemini card in your third chakra. Gemini rules the third chakra. So I'm not really mad about this being there. This is actually a really good thing. I feel like you guys are being very clear with yourselves. But you also can be tapped into their duality within the mindset. So there is a duality to your reading, balance home and career. So home and career, there's a duality about how you need to do this, about whether you're only focusing on one aspect and not the other. So there is kind of like, okay, you're home, you're thriving, you're good, but then everything else is kind of being left behind. So it's about that, and then allowing the flow of prosperity to come in with those opportunities, because you guys have it written all over. In your third eye, you have the Two of Pentacles. So there again, that balancing the home and career, you can see yourself doing it. You can see yourself going back to it. You can see yourself being stable, being balanced, having those that key down, like making sure that you are just feeling grounded on all aspects on your life, not just one side of your life, but both. So there is like things that are like transmuting out and translating into a different way. So just be mindful of that energy. Now with the Ace of Swords and the Judgment card, the ancestors are definitely actively working with you with what you're asking them this month. So if you're like, oh my God, I really need this opportunity, XYZ, this is what's going on, boom. Ask and you should receive. That's how things are translating. So if you say, hey, I applied for this job, I really feel like I need to get it, I feel like I'd be good at it, and it's something for now, for me to do XYZ, please help me find, boom, blah, 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 and then boom, the answers are like, okay, you have spoken, I'm taking that information and I am actively working towards it. So there is a lot of kind of like a give and take within the ancestors this particular month. Now for your oracle cards, you have independent. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. Endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter, and expect a miracle. Have a faith that your prayers are being heard and are being answered. So this is a very beautiful way to understand like the energy of what is going on, because as much as you guys have been home and doing your thing and being very like to yourselves, there has to be an ending to that. There has to be a different direction that you take, because you do have to evolve within your circumstance, and that has to do with you focusing on something else. It's like almost when you beat a certain level, or you beat a certain part and you've already mastered a certain way of doing something, but there's an extended way that you need to also learn, then that's what you need to do. So you already mastered the home part, now you need to handle your career part. Are you planning for the future? Is there some things that you maybe wanted to do? Like, I feel like once we all really reopen, there's gonna be so many jobs, because everybody's mainly unemployed. So there's going to be so many jobs available that you're really going to have to like, you're going to have like an open pick to whatever you want to. So it's a really good time for you to think about that. Think about how, what it is that you want to do, how this is translating. People, I'm telling you, there's going to be jobs all over the place. So what is it that you want to do? How do you want to end the cycle and move on to the next one? And that's definitely something that you should be very mindful of. Now, your astrological energies are Libra and Venus, which I'm not surprised for two reasons. One, you got a lot of balance messages in this reading. And two, you got Venus. You have a lot of Earth in this reading. It's all over your reading. So there is a lot of these energies particularly affecting you guys for this month. But I also would recommend looking at your transits just to see how it's going to how it's directly moving through your chart. Now, the two cards that came out from the Isis Oracle are these. It is Spirit of Isis and Ancient Power Mysteries. I'm just going to hold it there so you can read it. So you can pause the video. So yeah, so there's a lot of like as far as throat chakra power with you guys. That's with this card, with the Ancient Power Mysteries. There's a lot of throat chakra power. There's a lot of like, just be very mindful what you're saying as well, because Gemini energy can be very like, it fluctuates. So you have your moments where you're like, oh, things are really good, and then you're like, oh, things are really bad. While there is a duality in those two things, you also have to be mindful of what you're saying, because you can manifest the wrong thing, and you don't want to do that. So just make sure you are not like, oh my god, but you want to know what, my bill for this thing is good, they're gonna do this, and if I don't pay, they're gonna do that. Like, cut the nightmares out. You guys need to be mindful of your thoughts, because you can manifest the wrong thing if you want to go there, especially with the way your sacral chakra is. Like, be mindful of being overwhelmed by your circumstances, okay? Other than that, I feel like that's your reading. You guys ultimately will have a pretty good month. I just feel like you guys need a lot of balance. But as always, I'm not really worried about you guys. You guys are not the sign that I usually worry about. That'd be Cancer and Pisces. No tea, no shade, but those are the two signs I mainly worry about. But you guys are not, I'm not worried about you guys. You guys know how to take care of yourselves. Just focus, okay? So that was your reading. I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, and don't forget to check out the Patreon as well, because we're always learning and growing over there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.